were they equally unhappy before this sort of change? Which means, has this change uh, brought in some sort of increased happiness quotient over here, or has it made no change uh, to to the situation?
Also, I believe that when they say that they are still unhappy, it probably could be because of the new changes that he's brought in about. So maybe because he's brought in out automation and computerization of a lot of systems, and if the employees are not well aware of how it works, it would create a lot of confusion and havoc because it has come out of the blue for them. So if that is the reason why they are unhappy, maybe if he holds a few training workshops or conducts like a seminar on how to go about operating with this new system, that would create a little more satisfaction amongst the workers on how they can use this new technique.
Yeah, and also one more thing. Earlier, the secretaries were all sitting together as a pool. Probably that is when they were more comfortable and maybe happier because they could relate, share things among each other, and now they've all been separated and put in a more put closer to their bosses, which restricts their movement activities, things like that, which also could be a reason why they are unhappy now.
Also, I think the productivity should also be actually evaluated if there was a change in productivity after these changes or not. Because if there were no changes in the productivity after bringing these changes up, and if the employees are unhappy because of these, then there's no point in bringing about this difference. However, if the productivity has increased, say, for example, when you said that the secretaries were pooled together before and they used to talk to each other, but now if they are, and if they were wasting too much time at that time, but now with their bosses they are working more as compared to probably like gossiping or whatever they were doing pooled together, if that has led to an increased productivity, that could actually be explained to the employees that it is a workplace environment and it needs to be a professional setup.
Right, I agree. But yeah, there are two sides to this. One could be pulling them together could be helpful to them because they could probably help each other out in that situation, in turn increasing the productivity, or they could be wasting time gossiping or doing whatever, reducing productivity. So we need to evaluate that situation to reach a conclusion as to what has changed and what effect it's got. And it also says they're still unhappy. So we also have to ponder on the fact, keep on the fact as to what made them unhappy before this change, and now the reasons could have changed. Maybe things have become more comfortable for them after the automation and computerization because the monotony of the task probably reduced, but we still have to get some sort of feedback to understand what um, what change would they want to get.
Yes, it might also be possible that because of the automation and computerization, they are fearing for job loss or they are having an increased workload. So they need to be adapted to the new technology for which we require some training sessions which we have discussed. So the main problem to how to solve this would be to get an idea what why they are facing such an issue, and then we might get an idea like what to do about it and all.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, okay. In uh, today's world, I feel this sort of digitalization, automation, computerization, all these things becomes a essential part of any business with respect to increasing efficiency and things like that. So, uh, I'm there has to be some component of training involved with these employees, but also this point about job fear and things like that. I think if that had to happen, that would probably have happened by now when this was introduced. But if it's not happened, there's probably that deficit that we are also looking at of training and not, and of the employees not being comfortable with the current situation.
Also, when we say that they are still unhappy, maybe it is a mental health that is being affected because of the working hours or in general the situation around. There are a lot of factors that could lead to their unhappiness. So maybe holding a mental health workshop for them in general to improve on their happiness, not specifically related to work, but in general also could help them, because that is also something that a corporation should look out for their employees.
Yeah, I agree. And also, there could be another situation where they could probably like have a counselor or helpline number where they could reach out separately if not, if they don't want to be exposed publicly or things like that, or maybe be caught in someone's eye uh, in case they reach out for help or whatever. So, this could be another way of for them to reach out for help and maybe improve their mental health situation or reduce their unhappiness quotient, maybe.
Another thing that could be done is if they're uneasy or if they're still getting used to the sudden, more professional environment, some kind of activities can be conducted between the secretaries and the bosses, some kind of recreational activities, little workshops to make them more familiar, to make them more comfortable. They are already familiar, but to make them more comfortable with each other.
One more thing that could be done is to, for example, lead by example. If the managers embrace the automation and the computerization, the employees might follow. They will get to know that what are the benefits of such. If they had an open platform to discuss, if the managers can tell them like they have been using such automation and it will benefit the employees as well as the company.
Yeah, I think there could be a platform where they could if like they like an open platform where they could ask any questions, or probably like in a more organized way, maybe raise tickets or something like that for people who are aware to respond and answer, cater to those questions so that people are more comfortable with the environment, and there's a sort of knowledge exchange that is also happening throughout the learning process.
Manya, would you like to summarize?
I joined a little late, but from what I heard is there should be feedback on why this is happening, and then they should undergo seminars and training, and this increases productivities. Still, the employees are unhappy, so we should find out the reasons why that is happening. Maybe it is mental health issues, and then we could get solutions such as helpline numbers, and then we can lead by example and have an open platform. That is what I understood by the discussion. I joined a little late, sorry.
Ayushi, summarize.
So the first step after the case would be to get a feedback, understand what exactly is the problem, what exactly is the reason they are unhappy. Is this something which is continuing from before, or is it something new? Another thing would be to measure productivity to see if there is any kind of visible change in the productivity by these changes. And then we discussed other things such as there are also two that the secretaries might be uncomfortable. They don't. It might be a mental health thing, shifting from people in a similar position to any other bosses. Maybe a little more stressful, maybe more cautious. Another thing is they might some sort of workshop should be conducted for them to get familiarized with the new digital technology, maybe some sort of help desk where they can raise tickets and get their problems answered. Could also be another solution.
Snigdha, to summarize,
Um,
Snigdha.
So first need to identify why they are unhappy, whether the changes that have brought about are the cause of unhappiness or was it something else. We also need to evaluate whether these changes actually brought about an increase in productivity or not. If the problem is because of them not being able to understand how the new system works, then training workshops or knowledge exchange can help. Other than that, mental health workshops, recreational activities in order to improve interactions amongst the peers, secretaries, and bosses can also help in tackling with the situation.
Karan,
So the paragraph has mentioned that the work environment in the office are turned more professional, but still the subordinates are happy. So the first step would be to know why the subordinates are unhappy, like whether the work environment change has a positive impact on the company or a negative impact. We can do this by measuring. We have discussed that we can do this by measuring the productivity in the company, and then we have discussed about certain examples which we can take up to see which makes the subordinates more better. Like we can conduct training sessions, we can have open forums, then we can also talk about the mental health problems if that is affecting them. We have also discussed that it might be the stress problems that is affected their work.
Vidhi,
So based on this discussion, we've come to this conclusion that that we first initially need to get a feedback on what has changed and if their happiness quotient has changed before and after this new introduction of computerization and automation. There could be various factors which has affected their mood, which could include mental health issues or this introduction of a new system and change in positioning. So, different measures could be taken to rectify that, which could include uh, maybe an open platform, mental health uh, training, and automation training, and things like that, which could help improve the situation.
okay, fine. I think you have addressed most of the issues, so nothing new to add here. This used to be old system of secretary. Nowadays, hardly anybody has a secretary. So there are two systems. One is where you have a common pool and anybody can ask any stenographer or secretary to come and help him out. And here it is like they have particular bosses. So they are attached to one boss, and which is something which they may not be liking, like you have said. When we discuss mental health issues, new systems, uh, distrust or mistrust that some might lose their jobs. Maybe they have to work harder now because they are in front of the eyes of the bosses. Maybe they could gossip around earlier, but they can't do it. All these we have discussed, so fine, nothing to add as such. But I really don't know why Ayushi and Karan didn't speak much. Manya joined little late, so that's okay. But most of the talking was done by Vidhi and Smita, so the others try to buck up a little. Any questions on this? Okay,